Hello, this video reviews the second strings and pointer quizzes from the block day in preparation for your quiz number 8. We begin by answering question 1. Similar to the quiz that came before it, we're trying to find the first two characters of a string. Because I'm going to zoom in, I'm writing down the two characters I'm interested in, the string ZW, okay? And I notice here, okay, as I pass in a string, I want to get, well, ZW, first two. Oh, no, this one's the first character and the last character. So how do we extract the first and last character out of Word? Okay, Z, Y, X, W is what we have, and I'm writing down the indices right below it. Okay, so I can figure out which one of these answers is right. Looks like all my answers here deal with string concatenation, so it looks like one part must identify the Z and the other one must identify the W. So I want to find the indices that match up with 0 and 3. So I like this one, okay, with str, and they all have str in it versus the string s, so this is good. This one's also good for the first part, so is this one, and so is this one. All these first substring calls correctly extract the Z character. So then the problem becomes, okay, what do I need to find from the second part of the substring? Well, in this problem that I underlined in red, okay, b.length is not going to be too good. Do I even have a b? There is no b. Wait a second. b.length. Do I have a b? Why was mentioning something about a b? What the heck? Am I missing something? I feel like this question's written incorrectly. I might have made a mistake here. This should be str. There is no b in this entire function. So either something got printed wrong or typo. So let's assume that they meant str here, as there is no b variable in this problem. Okay. So string.length, right? This has a length of 4. Okay, length is 4. So if I substitute that in, I know that this one is incorrect. That one's no good. Length minus 1, I do like that because it's a 3. Okay, this one is also a 3, and then this one is the 4. str.substring. That's the difference. Oh, oops, there's my mistake. I caught one, okay? So the thought process goes, okay, now I distinguish between B and C and which one's the right answer. It looks like I have two, but then I caught myself right here, okay? This is the one argument version of substring. You see how there's a 0, okay? So what that actually does is this first part doesn't actually extract the first character. This one doesn't get you the letter Z. It actually gets you starting at position 0. Okay, so I include the Z, the Y, X, and all the way to the end, right? I start at 0, go all the way to the end. That's how one argument version of substring works. So this one incorrectly I incorrectly identified option B, this first part, substring of 0, as getting the character Z. So that one's actually wrong, which means our final answer here is C. Sorry for the messy explanation. Now for number 2, okay, what is the output of this program? I'm going to zoom in to the program and then scribble on the screen and see what we have. Okay, I'm dealing with substring. I have a loop this time. Okay, now that I'm in brown, right below it, I'm writing in 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then that's a 5. Okay, make it even smaller. And inside my fun function, I'm passing in a copy of this string called s. Okay, and then I'm going 3 at a time. So watch out, I'm growing by 3 each time in this loop. I start at 0, go up to the length, and grow by 3. Notice I'm adding to my double, okay, a translated version of this particular string. So when I is 0, okay, 0, that means I get substring of s from 0 up to 3, okay? So then I keep positions 1, 0, 1, and 2. So this first one, m equals m, which is 0, plus, okay, the double version of 109. Okay, so m is currently updated to be 109. Then when I changes to be 3, okay, I get s dot substring of 3 comma 6. So then let's do pink, right? So this part right here, okay, is 3, 4, 5. M is now equal to what it once was, 109 plus the double version of 876. So then my final answer, knowing my math, ends in 5, 8, and 9. Did I add that correctly? 15, 8, yeah. So 9, 8, 5 in double format. Hopefully that matches one of the answers, and there it is. Okay, option B. Notice how I broke apart a string using the substring function and then fed it into the parse double function, just like how you did in Google Billboard, or will do. Now this problem people had trouble with. This emphasizes the idea that we talked about in class, or that you will review in class, on how to diagram primitives and also pointers. Okay, so primitives. Okay, we'll draw a little box. There's A. Okay, there's B, and it's initialized to be 7 and 8 respectively. Now, when dealing with objects, okay, you got to think pointers now. Okay, we have a circle. There's my double object that contains the number 9. And then here I have a D as the pointer name, and I'm referring to an object, notice it's in a circle, that contains the value 10. I have now finished executing these 4 lines of code, these declarations and initializations. Now here's the confusing part, okay? I'll change colors for this. As I get to this call of the MST function, okay, A, B, C, D gets passed in. These primitives get copied, okay? This one, because they're pointers are copied, okay? For these guys. And the diagram looks a little different, right? For primitives, right? Now we have a W and an X. They take on the value, W takes on the values of A, because they're located in the first spot. X is in the second spot, so it takes on the value of B. There's my 8. Okay, that one works the way you think it does, like in the first semester. Now what's weird is when I get to the double objects, okay? Y is in the third position, so it points to whatever C points to. So there's my Y, and this points to the same thing as C does. Notice I have this new pointer that's drawn, and that's what makes this thing complicated. Lastly, Z, this pointer, points to the same one as the D object. So there is Z, okay, and now I point there. Notice, now I've just finished executing this line of code out here, that copying. Then, let's do green, okay, I'll begin executing these lines of code. X now becomes what W was. So X here, right, was 8, and then it becomes 7. Then this line executes, W equals 2. What was once 7 now becomes 2. Now, on to the complicated part. Y now points to Z. Okay? Y, that was pointing to the 9 object, notice how I scribbled it out, now points to what Z is pointing to. So I follow the arrow, right, and have it was pointing to 10. So then the 10 object is now what Y points to. Lastly, I change Y's num to be 3. So it was 10, and now it becomes the number 3. And I finished executing the mystery function. And at this point, my pointer diagram and my primitives look like this. Okay? And now I can evaluate and figure out what the output is. So A, I guess I'll highlight it. Okay? A is 7, B is 8, C's num, follow the arrows, is 9, and notice here I refer back to D's num. D's num is 3. So I should be seeing the 7 in double format, 8, 9, and then 3. So that matches option D. Okay? Likely the mistakes occurred from that new idea that will be from that lecture or from my lecture video on making a copy of these pointers, the Y and Z pointers. So pay attention to this diagram. It may appear on your quiz come Friday. That's number 3. Number 4 was the output of this program, okay, something shorter. So I'm going to zoom in, draw out my supposed output. Let's label these indices 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. I have 2 argument version of substring, okay, so I like to keep x and x. Notice I go up to, but not including the 2, okay. So then the first part is x, string, plus, now let's figure out the substring of 4. Now I have the one argument version of substring, so I keep position 4. And the one argument version works as, it tells you where to start, and it goes all the way to the very end. So I actually include 4, and I include 5. So this one, the second substring call, returns ff. When I concatenate them, I put them together, the answer here is xxff. So that is matching option B. Okay, rather fair. I'm putting together substrings with string concatenation. That's number 4. Down here, what's the output of this program? Ooh, okay. We wish subtraction worked the way it does. Like it takes away the substring, right? You remove the thing from the string if it occurred in there, but actually it doesn't work. Concatenation is the only special one. There is no minus that's possible, so that causes an error. We wish strings could be modded, divided, multiplied, or subtracted, but that doesn't work. Okay? Only addition works, and that's specific, and it's called concatenation. So 5 is error. If you're interested, for those students that want to learn more, you can overload the minus operator for 2 strings. And then you could say, oh, if it is contained, remove that and return the now shorter substring if it exists. Overloading operators, look that up, okay, if you're interested in learning more about it. It is possible to make subtraction have meaning with strings. Which diagram best matches the code shown? Okay, so we're dealing with primitives, and you'll see from the video that for primitives, we represent them in tables. So here's num1, okay, here's num2 in the row table, 1 and 2. Okay, I've executed this line of code along with this line of code. Now I'm saying num1 now takes on the value of num2. Evaluate num2, which is 2, store it into num1. So I should have 2 2's. Num1 is 2 and num2 is 2, leading to option C. Pointers or primitives don't share. They still have their diagrams though. Which diagram best matches the code shown? Right, word 1, word 2, so I'll just draw it. Here is my word 1 in a little box. That's the name of the pointer. I point to new, okay, so I draw a bubble, and inside contains the word hello. Word 2 gets its own box, and then in the little bubble goes the word world. I finished executing these 2 lines of code. Now as I go down to the third one, I have pointer reassignment. Word 1's pointer now points to what word 2 does. So to represent that, I follow the arrow and see that word 2 was pointing to world. So word 1 needs to now point to world. Okay. Word 2 was pointing to world. Word 1 now points to the same thing as word 2. So I'm reading that kind of left to right, and I tried to do it backwards, and that's why I paused to think for a second. Word 1 now points to the same place as word 2. That's how I would read this reassignment. Okay, word 1, this pointer now points to word 2, whatever it's pointing to. So this is the proper diagram. There are 2 arrows to the word world. So that matches option B. Okay. Number 8, which string has a length of 0? Oh shoot. I feel like this is where I'm a little unsure. I believe I need to initialize something inside. So I'm unsure whether it's A and B or just B. And it looks like based on these answers choices, since B is not allowed and no B for sure is right, that it's A and B. Okay, so this one made me doubt for a bit. If you don't pass in anything into the constructor, then it makes the empty string. It appears to be so. That's what I was unsure about, and based on these answer choices, this should be the right answer. B being the string literal, the empty string, that's okay. The empty string has a length of 0. This one has a space character, and you can see me trying to mark it up, okay? So this string, C, has a length of 1. Anything that contains C must be wrong. A only, yeah, but the string literal empty string also works. So that's option A for question number 8. Okay, which of the following is the string Q? So I have a longer string. That was quick. So again, I'm labeling in 4. Spaces count too, and that's what this question emphasizes. 10, 11, 12, 13. So I know it can't be the one argument of substring, okay, because that would get too many characters. I only want one character. These both have a difference of 1, and let's see. Okay, the first one is where I begin keeping. The Q is located at position 9, so I want to keep that. So that means my answer here is option B. This one, option C, would still keep a single character, but it would include the space, okay, just the space, which is not what we want. We want the string that contains the letter Q. Last question, what is the output of this program using Bob? Oh, and some people ask in class, what does to uppercase do? That changes your string to have all uppercase letters, as the name suggests. Let's see, char at, okay. It's a little bit more complicated. Mystery, okay, of Bob, the string literal. So S contains the word B-O-B for Bob to begin with, okay, so that's S, okay, and then, oops, and then I have the word up that contains the word uppercase version of Bob, B-O-B. Last, int last s dot length minus 1. Okay, last, this variable, contains the value, what was s? 3, right? Bob is 3 letters long, minus 1 is 2. And then I here starts at 0. Now I go through my while loop. Okay, oh gosh, I probably need more space. So while up.char at I, okay? So then I could write in these indices just so I can be safe about it. And notice I can use double equals with chars, okay? That is allowed because chars are primitives. So char at returns char. Up char at position I, which is 0, okay? So then I'm looking right here at this first B. Is that the same character as up dot char at last? Last is 2. Oh, yes they are. B does in fact equal B. So then I gets updated to be 1. It grew 1 bigger, okay? And then last grew 1 smaller. So it was 2 and now I'm 1, okay? And I hit this ending curly brace and I have to go back and repeat my while loop using these current variables, right? I being 1, last equal 1. So clean this up. Now I'm interested in, okay, char at position I, so that's this O, and it looks like last is also 1. So I ask, is the capital O character the same as capital O? Which it is. So then I go through another round of updating. I grows to be 1 bigger. Last grows to be 1 smaller. Okay? And then I go ahead and repeat the while loop. Now I'm back up here, checking the condition. So is up at char at, I is now position 2. Okay, I'll update my little markings. So position 2 is this B, okay? This capital B character is returned, and then I do up.char at last. Okay, last is now 0. Okay, B, capital B does in fact equal B, so yet again, I update I to be 1 bigger. It is 3, then last here is negative 1. And now, this is when I get an error. I'm pretty sure that's the right answer, right? Some of you may have stopped here, but the while loop must fail this conditional, okay? And then we can stop, right? So that minus 1 is like no good. So charts 3, that's already way out of bounds, right? There is no third position. And then definitely can't check negative 1. That doesn't exist either. So number 10 gives us an error, and that's what we needed to watch out for. and I'll make corrections if I end up telling you the wrong thing. That concludes the video reviewing strings and pointers quizzes number 2.